The Badgers return home to host Purdue for homecoming on Saturday. Game will kick off at 11 a.m., be televised by BTN. Head coach Paul Chryst is here. We'll have some opening comments, then take questions.
Well, certainly proud of the way guys kept playing Saturday and the number of guys that had to contribute. I think it was big, and I think we got a team right now that still has room for growth, and we need to focus on that this week. And excited to be back home and playing Purdue this week. But there's a lot of areas I think that and some positives we can build on, and certainly areas we've got to clean up, and we've got to own those. And I think it's a team right now that the best part about last week was finding a way to win it, but we got to learn how to play in close games and know that the margin of error as you get into Big Ten play is less and less, and there's just so many lessons you can learn from each game, and we got to take those lessons and improve. It was good again to get some guys. Bo Benchwell, I thought, did a nice job for his first start and first game action, and other guys stepped up in maybe a little bit different type roles, and we just got to keep growing and get better this week.
Paul, you mentioned Bo. What specifically did you like what he was able to do? And were you also surprised he went the distance? And kind of follow up to that, what's the status of Dan Volz for this week?
I thought, Bo did a nice job. I thought while he was not able to fully practice, of doing a great job, and Ross and the guys in the weight room making sure he was ready to go when he was kind of fully cleared. And I thought that, offensively, we throw it 50-some times. I thought guys did a nice job of protecting, and thought Joel actually stood in there and took some hits on those. But I think Bo did a nice job of all the work prior to it, so that he was able to go the distance on it. And Dan, we'll find out more through practice and all that, but he ended up was told today it's a sprain, which is good news. And so it's a matter of just getting him back and kind of, I think he'll have a brace with it, but just getting him comfortable with that. Okay. Should be like a shot clock.
What do you see from the Purdue Boilermakers? You can look at their scores and you say, but then they almost knock off Michigan State.
No, I think, offensively, I think they do a nice job of, spreading you out and then giving you a number of different looks. And so similar to a lot of the spread teams you played, you got to have great eye discipline, and, you are going to be on islands. You're going to have to tackle in space. I think that they've got a number of different playmakers. Running back, I think they got a good group of receivers. And the quarterback makes some things happen. So I think they're a team that when they're clicking, they're very explosive. And defensively, I think they've got, again, a scheme that fits their personnel. And I think they've got a couple players that we certainly have to make sure that we pay attention to, and you're going to have to earn what you get. And so it's, I think, right now, and we've spent yesterday and first part of the day, but we still got a lot more studying to do of them. But you can see, that not just in that game, other games. I mean, they've had close games and played good football, and so it's our guys. I'm looking for our guys getting a chance to, some of them, a lot of them have watched it, but getting to know this team, and we certainly have to play well.
Jeff.
Paul, I know coaches always say that if some guy goes down with an injury, the next guy's just got to step in it. But how has the line handled I think 6 games, 4 starting combinations. How has that gone in your appraisal once you guys look at the tape?
Well, I think that we've had guys step up and step in, and you appreciate what they've been doing. A lot of this group doesn't know any different. And so how are they handling? They don't have the comparative to it, and I think that that's just part of it's the hand you're dealt, and I think guys have been helpful to each other. I think that's one thing when you do go through it, whoever it may be, they were that guy. And so I think that you can pass along things that might help. And I think there's been some individuals, I think, Walker's done a nice job of swinging and not getting stuck in this is my spot type of a deal. So I think it takes all their personalities, all the work, and certainly Joe and Billy and what they're doing. And so, but I don't know if they know. I think Dan and Tyler do. But other than that, I don't know if they know what it's like to have consistency.
Dennis.
Paul, there seems to be an abnormally number of injuries around the country, and how has that impacted you and coaches in general on maybe contact in practice and changes over your time here?
It's interesting, and I think you always want to know what's going on and trends, and as we went and studied early, even in camp, were they coming? If the injuries come late in practice or late in camp, or if it's all a certain, let's say, drill or types of drills, then that's easier you've pinpointed it now. A lot of our injuries have not been that, and so it's a little bit harder. We're fortunate. We've got a lot of really good resources here, and we use those and try to gauge each guy and where he's at and what the volume of work he's getting, and I think that's when, and you have to handle it on an individual case-by-case basis, and so I think it's getting to know your team and getting to know your players. I don't know, Dennis, on how to explain kind of the trend, if that's what it is. I've been around teams and years here where you see kind of the same injury popping up, and then maybe it's something you're doing with the way you're training or practicing. But when it's kind of all over the place, it's a little bit harder to pinpoint. So try to gather all the information you can and be cognizant of it, and try to be proactive, in how you practice and how much. I think that there can be a fallacy that, football is a physical game, and if you don't hit it all, I think you got to teach them how to properly hit and for them to feel it. And so I think there's balances that you try to make, and you're always, trying to improve on it so that you certainly don't want anyone to miss time due to injury. We all know it happens, but you don't want to. You want to try to do everything you can to prevent it from the way you practice and when you hit, how you hit. That's why we tackle every day and teach it, and same thing with blocking. All those things that are part of the game, you also want them to feel it. They've got to feel that, and so I think hitting can be and should be part of your practices. Now you can't do it excessively, and you have to gauge your players, I think, but you're always trying to look for trends and try to help keep guys healthy.
Well, after watching the video, what all do you think went into that fourth quarter offensive performance?
I think that really offensively, the second half, I think we had 5 drives and 4 ended in scores, and one we had the missed field goal. So I think we were making some things happen. I thought the big thing, I think, Tom, was we ended up getting the run game going a little bit, and that helped. The one one of the first plays we had, I think Dari had a 30-some yarder, and that helped change the field position, and you know, we had some guys make some plays. So I think it was a kind of a combination of being able to run the ball and it made some plays, because it wasn't, you know, they didn't do anything different defensively, and you know, some of them were the same plays that we were running earlier in the game. I thought when you watched the first half, you know, we were one guy here, one guy there in the run game, and I think we had less of that in the second half. I think that helped us there, and we were able to make some plays.
Jesse.
Paul, the Big Ten West has shown itself to be pretty wide open so far. Not that you ever want to lose, but do you think your team can afford another loss and still win the division, or where do you see at the end of the year? I mean, how many losses can the team have and still win this year?
I think that's the great thing that I get to live in and want our players to live in, and that at the end of the year, that'll all be decided, and all we have to and should focus on is the week. And when you say that, you focus on the day. And so spend no time trying to figure that out. None of it matters if you don't take advantage of every opportunity each week.
Paul, back to getting the run going late. How do you resist the urge to not stick with it if you're not having success early?
I think you try to make the best assessment you can, is what is causing it. You know, if it's, I think there's times before where I've gotten away from a play, run or pass, because it doesn't go well. And yet, it may be that, there's times when I think early in games where you want to see how they're fitting it, or a player or two has to get used to how this guy plays. And through the course of the game, you should have a better feel for how either they're defending you or the player is going. So it may be something as simple as, let's come back to it. This is why guard tripped. All right, if he doesn't trip, we got a chance. Receiver didn't get his block. That's why it was a minus run or not a good run. So I think that you try to gauge it, and the circumstances of the game also, I think, influences you, maybe too much so at times. I think those are some of the things that you try to just accurately, or maybe if you've had some success with something, now they're starting to give us that. So you're trying to do the best you can in factoring all that in.
Jason.
Coach, with all the injuries and other setbacks you've had in the running game this year so far, is it much different coaching this offense than the last time you were here and you had those established guys up front and guys like Monty Ball and guys like that in the backfield?
I think absolutely it's different, and it was a different. Those guys had all been in the offense for a number of years, and yet the way you coach and how you coach isn't different, in the sense that you're trying to know your players. How do you help them get better, and how do you put them in positions where they can have success? So I think every year is going to be different because your group is different, and that's the fun thing about coaching.
Do you have an update on Taiwan? Is he going to be able to go this week?
We'll see during the week. You know, it was disappointed for him. Because I know he was looking forward to playing and tried to give it a go. So we'll see how he does this week, and I'll let you guys know, I'm sure.
Anything else for Coach? Oh, what? Dennis in the back.
Paul, with back-to-back close games, it's kind of determining the identity of this team, maybe of a scrappy team or of one that might age you a little bit. It's going to be like this throughout the season.
You never know, and that's what's I think that's what's fun about each season, and it's and I think that we've got the chance. It depends how much we keep improving, I think, but going in. I've been lucky to be in this league and there's always, that's what I enjoy coaching in this league, is that every Saturday is a big day, and so you have to prepare for that. The identity, we talk about that with the players. You know, the season's a book, and each game's a chapter, and at the end of the season, we'll know how the book ends. But right now, you know, our 2 Big Ten games have been close, and I think we've played 2 good teams, and we're going to continue to play good teams, and we've got to find a way to play within ourselves. And it is fun, though, during the season to see your identity come out, and whatever that is, we just got to be the best we can be.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.